Hello, everyone, and welcome back. And before we kick things off with this series, now that we've got the intro out of the way, I just wanted to remind everyone that here in the MMO class, the MMO videos, these are R&D videos. They are designed to be recorded at a relaxed pace, and if things go wrong, things go wrong. And I've said that before. It's been a while since I've said it. And in the sculpting system, Lee's going to be jumping all over the place, and that for some may be a little bit confusing. I just wanted to remind you guys that you can back up. This again is like having a camera over Lee's shoulder and just kind of watching what he's done. Now, keep in mind he has put extra effort into all of these R&D sessions by getting them ready to be presented in a lecture style. But I just want to remind everyone, and you, Lee, that you're not restricted to that. You are, free to just relax here and, take it easy.
I'm always relaxed. The problem is if I get too relaxed, I might fall asleep. But
well, I needed to toss that out as a reminder for everyone because I know you have been a little stressed about
this one.
With the sculpting system, we get all over the place.
Well, this is probably up to now one of the most complex things that we've tackled in R&D. And part of it is, in a way, we're going to be implementing kind of our first design pattern in this. So we're going to be using something similar to the state design pattern. Because if you think about what we're doing, we're going to be taking a system that can select between multiple sculpting tools and multiple brushes. So it's almost two-layered states at that point, or a two-tiered state system if you think about it. We're going to take our sculpting system and we're going to put it into one state, which is which sculpting tool are we using. And then we're going to also have the ability to select which brush we're going to be using, which is the second state. So the way we need to design this is in such a way that we can have our system in any sculpt tool state or any brush state, and the system still needs to be able to work. So I can have any brush, and any brush works with any tool. And if we were to try to do this any other way than with something like a state pattern or some of the even more complicated patterns that Nelson could probably go into, we get into a lot of different permutations. You figure with just 4 different tools and 4 different brushes, that's 16 possible combinations that we could go through. And if we're to try to hard code that in, that would mean that, let's say in the case of our smoothing brush, every smoothing tool, each smoothing tool would have to have the code to handle each different type of brush that we had. Or the same with the raising tool or the leveling tool. Where this becomes a problem is if you decide later down the road you want to add another brush, then you've got to go back and you've got to teach, or not teach, but you need to code the functionality of each new brush into each different sculpting tool. So what we're going to do from the start is design the system in such a way that it doesn't matter what we're using. We're going to have a trained sculptor. The trained sculptor's job is to keep track of the tool that's projected on the train, where that is, where it's located, what it's displaying, and its job is also to keep track of what brush that the user wants to use and which sculpting tool to use. And it's its job to make sure that those 3 things work together in concert to allow you to sculpt your terrain. That means there's a lot of inner functionality that we're going to be bouncing back and forth between the trained sculptor, a brush, the sculpting tool, and things are going to get passed around quite a bit. We're even going to have to go back to the train patch at some point, because the train patch is going to be the guy that's responsible for determining which patches are in fact being affected by our tool. Because our tool, being a 2-dimensional brush that can be positioned anywhere in the world, there's the possibility of that brush or that tool not only to affect one patch It could affect 2 patches. It could affect 4 patches. If you scaled out that brush and made it full size, there's the possibility that it could affect every single patch that's in the world at that point in time. So the system has to know what terrain patches that it's going to affect, and it needs to know which vertices of which patches it's going to be affecting. Because if you don't take that into consideration, you get weird effects like painting the same information on the same vertices of every single patch. So what you end up with is 9 patches that all mirror each other. It's kind of weird looking, but those are things that we have to deal with and take into consideration. And this is going to probably cause this system initially to seem like it's the most complicated thing that we've done yet. And that's the part where Jason was saying I was getting a little bit stressed about, because breaking this down into a way that's going to be easy to teach and understand was a lot of trial and error. And that's why it's taken so long to get to the point where we can actually record these videos. So this is, I think, my 3rd iteration on this system to get it to this point.
Gotcha. So Lee, let's go ahead and just wrap this video right here.
Okay.
We're just going to call this the reminder video.
Okay.
And then in the next video, we'll kick off with getting the framework for the sculpting system in place.
Okay.
So just a reminder for everyone, from this point forward, it's just we're going to present the videos here the way we intended to present the videos from the beginning, in a relaxed manner. If it happens to come off as a little cleaner lecture, then that's awesome. But I've just, making sure Lee knows that it's all good. So that's going to wrap up this quick reminder, and in the next video we'll get things kicked off with the framework. Thanks a lot.